Jim, it's been a long day. I appreciate you talking to Donegal TV. I suppose what we've seen here today is an indication of the interest in this game, with the number of national media people that are here, local media people here, media of all sorts. This is the game that everybody's been waiting for, and you guys are right slap bang in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's fair, Charlie. Big game, obviously. You know, with the minors involved as well, it's going to be a great occasion. 83,500. In a packed Croke Park against Dublin in their own backyard, you know, so it doesn't get any better than that on one level. I suppose you could look at it then and say, well, you're playing the best team in the country and that they're unstoppable, and look at it in a negative light. But for us, it's a great opportunity. It's also a great opportunity to get to the All-Ireland final, and that's one of the key things as well. And I suppose some people are talking about damage limitation in terms of Donegal and this Dublin team, and that they can't be beat really, you know. But for us, we're 70 minutes from the All-Ireland final, and we need to try and take that opportunity now. And these opportunities don't come around that often, and when you get to a semi-final, you need to make it count.
Yeah. You've been very complimentary about them, and rightly so, Jim. I mean, they've been tremendous so far this year. There would be a train of thought, perhaps they really haven't been tested in the way that Donegal will test them. But again, I mean, that's been presumptuous because, as you said earlier on, Donegal sometimes, and particularly from last year against Mayo, didn't perform in Croke Park. That's not likely to happen again, surely, is it?
Well, hopefully not, Charlie. But I suppose in terms of Dublin, every question that's been asked of them, they answered the question. You know, they played teams in their own province with a similar style to themselves, and then people said, you know, they come up against a difficult defence, you know, they're going to find that difficult to break it down. But the stats were very much similar. It's the same old really against Monaghan, you know, the 2-22, whatever it was. Number of shots, massive. Possessions, massive, you know, so no massive change there really in terms of what they bring to the table. So it's a big challenge for us. We know that, and we know we're going in against, you know, a top team. But we're looking forward to the game, yeah. And you know, our preparations are going well so far, and we've got 2 weeks to run to the game, and that's what we're focusing on.
And of course, what's important is what you bring to the game. And I mean, you've a very experienced squad there. You have some new names in this year, but overall, you're bringing guys who've won All-Irelands, have won Ulster titles. So there's going to be no fear element in terms of Donegal going and taking on Dublin, I'm sure, Jim.
No, well, the younger lads have been very important, Charlie. They've been really, really important. You know, when we made a conscious effort to integrate them in the McKenna Cup as well as the National League this year, to give them as much exposure as possible, and they've come really good for us. You know, they've brought a lot to the table for us, a different dynamic, youth, legs, you know, and they're hungry. They're really, really hungry. And then you have the other cohort as well, you know, that have been around the block. You know, I don't know how many of them, but a lot of them with 100 games plus played, maybe 7 or 8 of them in that area. So that's a lot of experience, a lot of championship experience, and you'll be hoping that we can bring that to the table as well. And I suppose if you go back to 2011 and the semi-final, you know, I don't think we played with nerves, but it was a huge occasion, and I think we have become a wee bit more accustomed to playing in Croke Park and playing big games, and 3 Ulster championships out of 4 years. You know, every Ulster final day it's massive for a player like Charlie. To get over the line is just a massive thing on a personal level and for your family and everything. So they've had that experience under their belt as well, and hopefully they can bring that to the table. Yeah.
You've done well in terms of your team selection. You've surprised us possibly every day so far, Jim, in terms of what you've started with and what you've brought in. Your matchups have been very good. The taxes have been very good. Might I suggest that you're going to have to get all that right and very right for this particular game?
I thought you were going to say you're due a bad day.
Well, I'm hoping you're not going to have one.
Absolutely, Charlie. You know, we need to get everything right. We need to get everything spot on, and we've spoken to the players about that today. You know, the thing about it is we need now to identify what them things are, and we're in the middle of that process at the moment. And we've made a start on Dublin this week, and we're continuing to work on our own training. And you know, we've 2 weeks to run to the game, and we've got training Tuesday night. We go away for a few days then, and we start building towards the match then, and hopefully the information that we feel is important for the game, convey that to the players, and then the one thing I would say is, for the last 4 years, every single game they've taken that information and used it really well. So, you know, we're hopeful we can go through that process again for this match, and travel to Croke Park as Ulster champions, you know, in a positive mindset.
and finally just another day on what's been a fantastic journey, ups and downs and all sorts, but Donegal in 2014 have shown really what they're about, and the memories of 2013 well and truly buried, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, 2013 was a very difficult year for us, Charlie, and the one thing that annoys me or frustrates me or puts you under pressure is preparation. And I don't feel we got the preparations right last year because we didn't get an opportunity to prepare the team properly. And the clubs this year, made a decision that they were going to call the club championship off. And we proposed to play a couple of rounds early in the season to free it up, and the club said no, that wouldn't work, and that would give the senior team the opportunity to prepare properly. And we're just delighted that on the back of that we were able to repay them with an Ulster Championship because the way was cleared. And it has also created a situation where all our players have been available. Like 93% participation we've had at our training this year, and it was way down, maybe 40 or 50% last year. So the clubs have made a very positive decision to give us the best opportunity to prepare, and that has been reflected in our performances so far, and we're very thankful for that, and we're very thankful that we delivered the Ulster final as well for the clubs and the people that have made them decisions. So preparation is the key thing, and as we sit here today, everybody's fit and everybody's available. Hopefully everybody gets through the club matches for their clubs tomorrow, and we go into the game then with a clean bill of health and looking forward to the match.
Well, we're at the press conference here for the Donegal team in the lead up to the semi-final against Dublin. Colm from the Irish Independent with us. You've heard Jim McGuinness there. Very forthcoming, I thought, there, Colm, just about his thoughts about the game.
Yeah, and very honest in his assessment of the odds that Dublin are something like 5-6 to 1 on, and he has accepted that, and he has gone through the strengths of the Dublin team as he sees them, and he very much thinks that maybe bookies don't have it right, but they're certainly justified in thinking that way, and it's up to Donegal to see can they bridge that gap, because you have to say, and you can only look at the football and the football that Dublin have played this year, and they are overwhelming favourites to win it out, obviously, and it's an enormous challenge for Donegal to take on this Dublin team who have improved so much since not just since 2011, but even since last year, and are doing things even more relentlessly than they were in 2013. So it's a massive challenge for them, and he accepts that. He accepts that there is a perception of a gap there, and that can only be closed on Sunday week, not at a press conference or not between now and then. That can only be closed on Sunday week, and that gap will stay there until Sunday week, until we see what do Donegal have in store for them.
I was interested in his answer to Orla when she mentioned about perhaps Donegal going down and giving them a good run for it, and he was very quickly said, well, we're not. That's not what we're going for. We're not going down there for that.
Of course, and they have to go in with the mentality and the belief that they can win it and that they can get everything right, because obviously if Donegal get absolutely everything right, and that is Colm McFadden maybe coming back to the form of 2011, 2012, when against Dublin in that day in the All-Ireland semi-final. He was superb in holding the ball up against 2 and sometimes 3 defenders and getting there. He probably hasn't been getting to as much ball throughout the Ulster Championship, and indeed against Armagh last day. And they need that. They need Carl Lacey's driving runs from centre back as well, coming through there, as he gave them so much momentum. And that hasn't been probably happening as much. And obviously they need things to go wrong for Dublin as well, and there are obviously can be chinks in the armoury of Dublin's discipline from time to time that have not surfaced this year, and that's something that Jim Gavin has tied up pretty well. But you have to say, so far, and on the evidence of what you see, there doesn't seem to be any flaws in Dublin's game at the moment. They are okay, they can switch off, and they've switched off against Cork in the league semi-final when Cork stretched into a big advantage, but they reeled them in, and it seems that no matter how they play the game, no matter how you set up against them, they will get you in the end. And it's a difficult thing for Dublin or for Donegal to mentally hold off and to believe that they can. But I'm quite sure they have probably the best motivator in the game to do that and to instill that belief and to create scenarios where they can believe that they can go and win this game.
Are we clutching at straws perhaps and thinking that Dublin really haven't been tested this year, Colm? When you're winning matches by the amount that they're winning, you're really not been put to the pin of your collar in the key times in matches. Maybe early in games they haven't been that impressive, but when they've pushed that button that you mentioned, they've been hugely impressive.
The only game where they have really started as they have finished games was against Meath, and I got the sense this year that they really wanted, for want of a better, they really wanted to do a number against Meath, and they were the two previous Leinster finals against me, they'd won by 3 and 7 points, and they hadn't really played. They'd played for spurts, but they really went to deliver a big performance against Meath, their old rivals this year, and they did it in some style. And realistically, they could have won that game by 25 points. Realistically, they could have won the Monaghan game by in the order of 20 points plus as well, because Diarmuid Connolly had 2 goal chances in the second half, Cormac Costello, and they're probably only taking 40-50% of their goal chances. And as Jim pointed out, they're up to 45 to 50 attacks, shots in a game, which is absolutely phenomenal for any Gaelic football team. And if you go through the statistics, they're winning games by their winning tallies are 28, 29 points. Their average win this year is 15 points per game. That's a point of man. We often thought they'll beat you by a point of man. Well, actually, Dublin are going and doing that, beating teams by a point of man. So everything that they have done suggests that they will win this game. But Donegal do create that little element of doubt because of 2011, because of what they did in 2012, because of the 8-6 scoreline in 2011. They know that they can defend. They are the pioneers of probably the best defensive system ever in Gaelic football. Donegal are the pioneers of that, and that sows a little bit of doubt. That brings Dublin maybe just back that bit from the other teams to Donegal, and Donegal will present a far greater challenge, I think, than Monaghan did. And Monaghan held them for 22 minutes, and coincidentally Colin Walsh had suspected cruciate injury at that time, and through that channel they run in 2 goals and a point, and the game is over at that stage, and Monaghan just couldn't chase the game. So look, it's interesting. It's a fascinating duel. You would think, as I said, Dublin have gone on and are a much better team than even last year. But there is an element of fascination about Donegal. How are they going to set up? Are they going to challenge the Cluxton kick-out? That's a huge question for every manager this year. Monaghan didn't do it, and they lost considerably, obviously, by doing that. Dublin can transfer a ball from 0 to 60. No one goes from 0 to 60. 12 seconds, they can cover the length of the field in movements. They've been timed at that. They can move a ball from their own full back line point within the order of 12 to 14 seconds. It's phenomenal, the movement they have. But do they do it against Donegal next week? That's a huge question.
The game everybody wants to see, Colm.
That's it. I think everybody who gave out about it 3 years ago, and it was Armageddon for Gaelic football and the storm that it created, and now it's the most fascinating duel since, and it's the one that, I mean, it's an absolute guaranteed sellout, 82,000, whatever it is. Everybody looking forward to it. Huge clash of styles. At least we assumed it would be a huge clash of styles. Perhaps Donegal will go up and challenge the kickouts, and maybe they will place Michael Murphy on the edge of the square, and maybe they will do things differently, and that's what makes it fascinating.
It's lovely to see you in Donegal. Thanks, Colm.
Thanks, Sherry. Thanks for
appreciate it, Colm. Thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.